what we'll be getting out of my class. This class is about instructional technology, which is actually a very broad subject area. In a nutshell, it's about learning to use technology for effective teaching and learning, but there are so many technology tools out there, and so many techniques of instructional technology out there. It's also a fast-growing field, so there are many new tools and instructional technology techniques emerging all the time. So don't think you can be an all-round instructional technologist after just one semester of taking this class. It has to be a lifelong learning. I've been in this field for 13 years, but I'm still learning, constantly adapting my skill and knowledge to the changing world of technology. Based on my experience as an instructional design and technology specialist in the past, in teaching this class every semester, I've identified these 4 problem areas where students and educators alike lack most today. Extremely poor visual literacy skill. Absolutely horrible multimedia design for instructional materials. Lack of innovativeness in using technology for instruction, and really vague or wrong understanding of the US copyright and fair use. So we'll be focusing on these 4 areas throughout the semester. Visual literacy skill. I'm sure most college students can write at a college level. But when it comes to the visual literacy skill, which is to communicate through pictures and animations, this is a typical visual literacy skill level observed among many college students today.
Mayer suggests that learning with words and pictures is more effective than learning with words alone or pictures alone. In one study, he and his colleague tested this assumption by giving a problem-solving task to 3 groups of students. In Group 1, students were presented with a narration alone. In Group 2, students were presented with animated pictures. And in Group 3, students were presented with both a narration and animated pictures. On the problem-solving test that followed, the students in Group 3 that were presented with both narration and animated pictures outperformed the groups that were presented with only a narration or pictures. So research suggests that in the case of giving a PowerPoint presentation, you should use both words and pictures. It is really better than using words alone or pictures alone. The answer is hell yes. Now I want you to start.
Believe it or not, the levels of visual literacy skills demonstrated by college students or even by educators are not so different from those of the 4th graders. While your verbal literacy skills continue to develop significantly throughout your school years, it's almost as if your visual literacy skill hasn't improved much since the 4th grade. So I intend to train you and push you hard to improve your visual literacy skill in this class. Multimedia design for effective learning. If you look at PowerPoint slides designed and developed by many college students and educators, they are absolutely horrible. They contain very few things to help people learn, but contain so many things to make it really hard for people to learn. You might be guilty of just talking and talking without showing accompanying visuals. You might also be guilty of making a PowerPoint slide like this or this with just a bunch of text. You might also be guilty of making a PowerPoint slide like this or this, in which it's really hard to find relevant information. Many of you may have been guilty of inflicting death by PowerPoint on your presentation audience in the past. You may also have been a victim of death by PowerPoint in school, seminars, workshops, and so on. Luckily for you, there are certain multimedia design and multimedia learning principles you can follow to design one heck of a presentation. So I'll be strictly enforcing these design and learning principles in all of your projects throughout the semester. Innovativeness. When I give my students a task to come up with innovative teaching strategies or ways to use technology to enhance their teaching or students' learning, the response I often get is something like,
I don't know what to do other than using PowerPoint.
I don't even know where to begin.
Is using Frizzy innovative enough?
I don't have money to buy new technology tools.
I don't have many great ideas.
If you feel the same way, do you think it's because you don't have enough money or are just not a creative or innovative person? My answer to that is, hell no! I believe all of you are innovative enough. You just need a good starting point or framework to design and develop various teaching or learning strategies. Educators have put together so-called the 21st century learning skills to show teachers how 21st century learners should engage in learning in the technology-rich and media-rich environment today. So we'll use the 21st century learning skills as a starting point or framework to design instructions. And I'll have you explore and incorporate various technology tools and resources that are available to you for some of the projects we're doing in this class. Copyright and fair use. Since we'll be using a lot of multimedia resources for teaching and learning in this class, it's important for us to have a proper understanding about the US copyright and fair use. When I give my students a pre-test on the US copyright and fair use, the average score they get is usually around 30%. Many college students and educators alike don't really know much about the US copyright and fair use. I often hear teachers say,
As long as you use it for your classroom teaching, you're covered.
is it really that simple? Hell no! So in this class I'll teach you how to avoid committing copyright infringement as well as how to protect your own work from copyright infringement. So these are the 4 areas you'll be focusing on throughout the semester. If you do well enough to get an A in this class, you'll be well on your way to be a 21st century teacher for the 21st century honors.